It's the turn of the European Sprint Series this evening, brought to you live from the amazing Red Bull Ring, broadcast live on the Total Sim Sport YouTube channel. I am James Parfitt, and shortly I will be joined by the one and only, the gentleman and scholar, Mr. Chris Rowlands. Tonight is the turn of the Red Bull Ring at a track length of 2.68 miles or 4.31 kilometres. It's one of the shortest tracks in the series, set in Spielberg, which roughly translates into Play Mountain in the Rowlands Hills of Austria. Despite being one of the shortest Grade 1 tracks in the world, it's synonymous with action, whether it's in Formula 1 cars, motorbikes, or like today, multi-class sprint endurance. We have an action-packed show this evening, and with the LMP1s, LMP2s, and GTEs taken to the track, this race is going to be nothing short of amazing. Let's welcome Chris to the show. Chris, welcome in.
Good evening, James. Good evening, everyone. I'm super excited for tonight's race, and I'm hoping everyone else is as well.
Yeah, Chris, the infamous Red Bull Ring, and we've been here a few times over the last few weeks, but for our viewers, for our new viewers, tell us, what can we expect from tonight's race?
Well, the Red Bull Ring is deceptively excellent for close racing, in my opinion. Those of you who've been watching Total Sim Sports coverage of both the FTR 4 hours of Red Bull Ring and back in September, of course, the ISREC endurance race here as well, you guys will know exactly what we mean by this. If you get drivers that trust each other at the top of the skill range for these cars we've got tonight, you can get some really phenomenal action on a circuit where the cars can go side by side for quite a sizable chunk of the lap. Plus, with it being such a small circuit, as you say, the drivers tonight are going to have to be at the top of their traffic management game.
Yeah, I think, Chris, tonight's going to be an absolutely epic race. Now, there's a rumour on the grapevine, Mr. Rowlands, that you've been in the LMP2 around here for a few practice sessions. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct, and it went very, very badly, and mercifully there weren't that many people to watch me hoon that car around pretty much backwards at all times, and it doesn't bode well for me personally, with my absolute favourite Formula Renault 3.5 due to visit Austria, I believe, next week. But no, my biggest takeaway for tonight was just how crucial it is here to get a good exit consistently out of every corner. I mean, to an extent, that's true of every track in the world, but I think here, because there's so many long straights on this track, you're going to lose out on heaps of lap time if you overcommit to entry speeds. Also, from a quick view of some of the earlier splits today, it does look to be quite a tricky track to keep within the instant limit. I mean, in a 5-lap stint, I must have racked up about 15x, and the drivers tonight will get a drive-through penalty at 17x. So effectively, on what is going to be nearly 50 laps of the LMP1 cars, you can only really afford to make one mistake every 3 laps, and that's without any contact, and that is easier said than done.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, when you're doing that many laps, it's going to be hard to keep that X limit down. Now, obviously, after recent conversations with a young gentleman by the name of Locke Marchant, a more than capable LMP1 driver, Chris, the setups this evening, what can you give us an insight into what setups everybody's going to be looking at running in LMP1?
Yep, so this is what Locke was telling us. It's not my expertise. We're passing it on. He was saying it's very interesting setup-wise, because you can run the low downforce and the high downforce setups here because the straights are quite small. I know we've got a lot of them, but they're not the longest. Sort of compare it to last week at Daytona or a few weeks ago at Le Mans. Different straights. There is about a 7 km/h difference between the two downforce packages at top speed, but of course the low downforce needs longer to get up to that top speed. So it's only really a gain of about 0.3 per straight, and that's on the longer straights. The high downforce, on the other hand, is going to be a lot faster at the end of sectors 2 and 3, and you can be a lot more aggressive on both entry and exit. And of course, this is not to forget about the boost that the cars have. You can easily reach 100% deploy on each lap, but here the high downforce struggles because you need to extend the braking zones to make sure you've got enough boost for the following lap. But with the low downforce, you can brake as late as possible and still have about 50 to 60% stock, which is the battery charge, at the end of the lap. Pace-wise, they're very close. The low downforce is going to be a bit better in LMP2 traffic, in Locke's opinion, with that small extra top speed. But there's no fuel advantage of running low downforce. high downforce is better on tyres, and low downforce is probably going to suffer from understeer towards the end of the race. So that's Locke's expertise. So you can keep a lookout for that with the LMP1 field tonight.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, any sort of information like that really does kind of give us an insight into what it takes the LMP1 cars to do. But when we'll have a look at the broadcast split tables at very shortly when they pop up and they come up on screen, and we'll see who is currently top of the standings as well. So when we get that information, Chris, if you want to have a run us through.
Yeah, can do. So we'll do top 10 for each class. So we've got LMP1 on the screen right now, and somebody is leading by some distance there. It's one Mr. Jan Curbs, who is, I believe, 55 points clear of Carlo Labatti. And Taylor Mills in third, Simon Cowlart's fourth, Daniela Pizzo, Will Woodland, Luke Santos, Alex Bacchio, James Armstrong, and Andre Reddington is a very, very strong top 10. And then we'll have a look at LMP2. We've got Jan Studensky, who has probably shown the most overall pace, but it keeps getting tripped up in incidents, but he's still leading the championship by 39 points from Alessandro Izzo, followed by Dominic Cortum, and then it is very tight between the remaining drivers from Andrea Barilaro, Didier Duchateau, Kenneth Gulbranson, Lasse Bach, Benjamin Cowra, Michele Sangalli, Nick Adams make up the top 10, but you can see just how close everyone is there, and it's much the same in GTE. I mean, look at GTE. There is 11 points separating the top 10. This is anyone's game. And I mean, we saw Frosty St. Clair last time out. Absolutely flying. But Romain Verdelivo is leading, followed Michael Rack, Richard Simner, who is in tonight, with Shunya Borges in fourth, Adrian Leidinger, Kirill Kolobuksov, Michael Gard, Tony Nguyen, Frosty St. Clair, and Jorge Carmo are your top 10. Anyone's game, though.
Yeah, I think I'm so excited for these series, the LMP2s and the GCEs, how that turns out as well. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Guys, don't forget, we are on the pace lap at the moment. We are lining up just round the Worth section of this track. We'll do probably a quarter of a lap and then we will be green. But tonight's race, guys, is sponsored by Inside iRacing Podcast, Inside iRacing UK Podcast, the only podcast you need for all your iRacing UK news. Now, episode 4 is out now, and that's with our very own Tim Cox and Sean Cranleigh-Swash from Total Sim Sport. They talk through their experience, what they go through to get the broadcast to air, and that's hosted by Mark Jennings and Calvin Dent. And you can find all their links below in the YouTube description. So much love to them, and definitely check it out, guys. I have had a listen already, and it is absolutely amazing as well. So definitely worth going to check that out. But as you can see, we're just waiting for them to start their pace laps. Chris, you excited?
I'm extremely excited, and it's nice to see such a healthy grid tonight as well. Stuart Bickley in YouTube chat is very excited because he's put his LMP2 on pole. We've got Jan Studensky in third, though, so I think that's going to be an interesting battle to start us off in that field. Look out for that. Also, look out for just how many courgettes we've got in the field tonight. It seems to be the GT, of course, but let's not forget we've got 2 Fords as well, so producer Sean is also going to be quite pleased.
Yeah, there's a very happy, healthy field tonight as well. And to be fair, there's quite a lot of the wonderful Corvettes in the GT safe field as well. So, you know, it's quite interesting to see. Normally we're covered in Porsches, but we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Corvettes. So there you go. It's going to be an absolutely amazing race. So we're just waiting for everybody to grid up, and then we will be going, Chris. And there you go. We are underway currently as well. As we head down into the Rint section of this track. Going down into Rint, we'll be heading down into Red Bull Mobile before we will be green. And there you can see Spets as your leader currently going around the pace lap. So this is going to be a very exciting race now, guys. Spa, as we are, guys, we are at the Red Bull Ring and we are going to be green right about now. And Alexander Spets has got an absolutely amazing jump on the rest of the field in LMP1. Carlo Labatti in second, Debicero in third, Navarro is now in fourth, Carey fifth, Colot sixth, Armstrong seventh, Corbs is down in 8th place, but that's where we expect him. As we go to the LMP2 field, Stuart Bickley is still leading the field with Jan Studensky. Cookman's behind, Tabano behind him. Seyforth in 5th, Behrens in 6th, Freckleton in 7th, Balmisa in 8th, Ballesteros in 9th, and Prame is down in 10th as well. So there you go, an absolutely amazing start for them guys, and they all seem to have got away cleanly. In the GTEs, we've got Verdalivo is in 1st, Noel in 2nd, Ricky in 3rd, Chave in 4th, Goslin is in 5th, Simar is in 6th, Flement in 7th, Colmel in 8th, Waring in 9th, and Quaganero in 10th. Chris, so far, I'm going to say so far so clean.
So far, but it's an hour-long race. You said it, I think Carlo Labatti, it looks like he's had an incident, so that's our first victim. That looks like he's there on the right, coming back onto the track, so we'll see what's happened to him here. James?
Yeah, take us through the replay, Chris.
Yeah, so it looks like, as we always we saw that a lot in the FTR race there, just coming through the turn 6 of Rauch. It's a tricky corner. You're putting a lot of load through that car, and you're on cold tyres with a full fuel tank, and you've just lost the rear end, just pushing a little bit too quickly there. So big recovery drive for Labatti now, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, as we head down Behrman's now, car number 21. He's got Seyforth behind him, but Bickley up in front at the moment. As you see, Carlo Labatti coming back through the field. Jan Studensky has got out in front from Cookman's in seconds, weaving over the track to break the toe. Again, that's a very opinionated area of the iRacing scene itself as they head down in to Remus at the moment for that run down into Schlossko. You see car 24 there making a move. That Ballesteros up in the inside of Freckleton. Are they going to be taking this nearly 3 wide as we're heading down the straight down into the Schlossgold? Tricky off camber downhill corner. See 21 there, Behrens and Bickley. Bickley is heading back faster than he's heading forward at the moment. Chris, I'm not quite sure if he's had an incident or has got a problem.
Yeah, I think it was possibly coming out of the last turn or the first turn of this lap. He lost about 3 places, and often once you lose one position, because of how tightly packed these fields are going to be at the start of the race, you just end up going backwards and backwards because your line is compromised through each corner. He's still got the pace. He clearly has the pace. He was on pole, and it looks like he's now trying to come back a bit on Behrens. But as you can see here, actions throughout the LMP2 field.
Yeah, we just watched Ballesteros do an excellent episode of Tokyo Drift there, as he's then heading down into Schlossgo, down into Red Bull Mobile and onto the start-finish straight. He got a little bit out of sync and literally was sliding his way around the track. As we see up in car number 10 there, there's Buck Bickler heading round Nicky Lauda curve and off up into Remus. That's car number 37 on the left-hand side of your screen, and car number 38, which is Prem, on the right-hand side as you're looking at them right now. Is Bert Bickler good ahead up the inside? He is, of Remus. Prem is on a very bad side there, Chris. I don't like his chances of trying to recover on that outside, but we have seen previously that outside line can be a very quick line, but he has got Freckleton pulling him along there, Chris, heading down into Schlossgold.
Yep, sideline on turn 2. You're avoiding the really weird camber on the curb, so if you take it correctly, you can actually gain quite a bit of an advantage on the power just that little bit earlier. But you'd rather be on the inside, I think, as you come through into Schlossgold, and yeah, it's one of those really tricky decisions you have to make very quickly. Is where do I want to be for the next corner if we're going side by side? You can't always get what you want though, and it looks like Bert Bickler at the moment is having to stick behind Freckleton, but he's still keeping Priam behind him.
Yeah, they're heading down in to Rint and down into Red Bull Mobile. As you can see there, car number 11, Stancho and Prem. Priam seems to be heading at another one that at the moment it seems to be losing places quicker than he's heading going forward, but he's dived out onto the inside, as you can see, heading down into Nicky Lauda curve. He's going to be looking again. Oh, that was an excellent run by Stanchu there, Chris. I think he literally got an absolute flyer out of that corner.
Yeah, it just shows you how important it is to line up your corners correctly, although we're going side by side here, Ballesteros and Prem, so we'll see if the outside line works with Ballesteros here. Yeah,
Ballesteros on the right, Prem on your inside. Prem takes it very tight. Ballesteros lets it run wide, gets early on the gas. He backs up everybody else. That's Kommel got backed up behind him, Langen as well. As they're heading down into Schlossgold now, we've got car number 24, which is Ballesteros and Priam. Priam's on the inside going into Schlossgold. It's not easy to try and keep it. Oh, there was rubbing of metal there in the background as well. That would be interesting to see as well. That's car number 22, that's Seyforth as well. We'll have to have a look. He's lost it wide. Was it on his re-entry? He's managed to... No, there was metal already before. That's car number 36 there. That's Como. I believe he had a little bit of an off as well. A lot of rubbing together there with car number 35, Chris.
Yeah, I think really what was happening there was 5 cars were trying to enter an apex at the same time, and unsurprisingly, it didn't work very well. So I'm actually genuinely surprised we didn't have a full-on crash, just a little bit of contact, and thankfully where the LMP2s are built like tanks, so thankfully it doesn't seem to have wrecked anyone's race this early on. So that's good news for the drivers. Bad news for the drivers, it's time to manage traffic.
Yeah, we're up in 5 laps, and as you see, the LMP1s are coming back past the LMP2s already, as we got Stuart Bickley is tucked right up the back of Behrens, going down into Sloshko. Studensky as well has got Kochman's on the outside going down into Sloshko, nearly taking that too wide. Kochman pulls back, as we see it on board from Bickley's front end. He's looking directly at the travel. There's Behrens in front, Taberner in front of us, Kochman's in front of him, Studensky in front there. We expected Studensky to be quick, Chris, but I was almost expecting him now that he's got out in lead to start pulling away, and he's not really motoring away as much as I expected him to be.
Well, I'm a little bit surprised as well, but all drivers are going to be slightly better or worse at other tracks, and maybe Jan's just a little bit less good at Red Bull, which means that he's merely in the lead, not miles ahead in the lead. I'm sure there's worse places to be for drivers. So you can see here the GT drivers are having their own battle, and that's making it just that little bit trickier for the LMP1s to get past.
Yeah, as we see Spiker and Carmo near having a little bit of door rubbing there. Bossier in the Ford as well, with Jordan behind him. There as well. We've got 2 Carmos on the field tonight, so it'd be interesting to know if they're family related. But we have got Spiker. Simnar is having Gosling tucked right in front of him at the moment. He's got Kommel tucked up right behind him. He's chasing down Gosling there. You can see as we're going down into the tricky Red Bull Mobile. It's an off-camber corner. You've got to come round. There's the bump that takes you around that corner. And off on the accelerator you go up to Nicky Lauda. As you see Simnar being chased down as we're on board. Kommel all the way up for he's really closing up now. He's got to look for this good drive out this Nicky Lauda curve. He's got to be on the gas as quickly as possible, heading up into Remus as you see one of the LMP1s go shooting past us at a rate of knots. We have got 52 minutes remaining. Kommel, Simnar is having an absolutely amazing battle at the moment. Oh, who was that in the Corvette? Was that Sharp Gosling? I believe had a bit of a slide on. He's got Ricky now tucked right up beside him. Simnar is closing in as well there, because it just looked like he got a little bit out of control going from Remus down into coming out of Remus there, Chris.
Yep, that won't be the last time we see that from any classes tonight. It's the perennial problem of this track is that you desperately want to get the best run possible down the long straight, so you're going to get the power down as early as possible. But if you do it too early, as we see some expert weaving from Studensky here, then let's see if any of these LMP2s make the same mistake. Are they going to put the power on too early? Nope, they've all got through so far in this lap. He's really wanting to break the toe, although with half a second gap, I'm not sure this is achieving a huge amount other than some content for us, I suppose.
I don't know about that. I think, that people say that you can weave to pull the turn, but to try and break the toe. But I see it as it's dangerous. I see it as it shouldn't be done. Maybe that's just me, and I'm sure I'll probably hear from Jan after the race. But I'm not a lover of that weaving guys down the straight. I don't really find it's, as I say, apart from being dangerous, I don't really find that it achieves a lot. Chris, maybe that's a.
If it was real life, I'd be 100% on board. I mean, I personally wouldn't do it. I think he's just toying with the Korkmaz, to be honest. Which, at the end of the day, this isn't real life. If he ruins anyone else's races, then he'll have some questions to answer, but that's not happened. I mean, I am surprised he's still doing it, to be honest, because he's now about he pulled out 2 tenths on Korkmaz that lap, and you can see the sort of paces of the other guys there. He's got that 2 or 3 tenths on everyone else. I don't know, it's just a bit silly, but again, I guess we can be grateful this isn't real life. If he was doing it in real life, that would possibly be a black and white flag.
I think he would have had a warning a long time ago for the amount of times it's been done, to be honest, Chris. And I think this is one of the things that I really struggle with in the iRacing. As we see Behrens and Tamina going down, they're going side by side into Sloshgold at the moment. They're not going to run this side by side. It's not going to work. If I was Stuart Bickley, I'd be looking at tucking up the inside as well. While Taberner's out on that far line, he's got to try and get the tight in as well, round into Worth, coming down now, round Roush down into the Worth section. Taberner's still out on our outside. If he stays there, he's going to get the inside line for the next set of S's coming through. He's taking the inside line and he's heading down into Rint and down into Red Bull Mobile. He's got the inside line. Taberner's at the moment. We've got Bickley is pulled right up onto the back as well. Oh, I thought that was going to end up in some form of connection between Bickley and Behrens there, but these three are really close together as they head down the straight, down into Nicky Lauda curve. Bickley's looking racy. Is he recovered, do you think, from his earlier dilemma, Chris? Because, you know, pole to fifth, it's a big loss, but as we see Studensky still weaving.
It's not a big loss in time, though, if you look at it sort of over. He's less than 3 seconds behind Studensky.
We've got Taberner going up the inside now as Behrens has got through on Taberner going down. Bickley is on the right-hand side as well as we're going on to Spets there. He's an LMP1. He's coming down into Slosco. We've got Dapikel behind us. Oh, that is very tight LMP1 battle as they're heading down into Roush now, going past the LMP2s, and they're side by side. They're going down. Look at that. Right up behind Chris. This is going to go either way coming through this LMP2 battle, and I wouldn't like to be any one of these, but as you see, we're going to have 3 cars, 3 series on track right about now. There you go, LMP1, LMP2 and the GTEs. This is where this weaving from Studensky doesn't really bode well, does it? If he's going to do that now, he's going to be in trouble because there's a lot of traffic as we see Depaquay go through. He's gone through on space. Oh no, this is going to be... No, that was obvious. Oh, we saw that coming. But that's caused a problem for everybody else. Studensky's off the field as well. Behrens went off. Cookman's went off. Taberner's now make up his position as well. This has caused nothing but chaos. We've got 3 classes. Every single car's on track, guys. They don't know what to call. I'm sorry, but it's just absolute chaos as we go down into Remus, heading down into Sloshko. We've got Jan Kurbs cutting through the traffic like a hot knife through butter. We got Studensky's in there as well, the leader of LMP2. Behrens is in there. I wouldn't be surprised if Sharpe was in there from the GTEs, as they're all so closely matched. I really cannot give you any form of information at the moment. They are swapping all over the place, guys, and as you can see, Taberner's now got an LMP1 on his inside. He's heading round Roush as well, going down into Worth. Behrens is in front of that LMP1 car, so that's going to be an interesting one as well, as it's coming round the outside. We've got Bickley's in there as well, guys. Chris, help me out. That's just amazing.
This feels a bit like my commute home on the A2 from work. It's traffic everywhere, all going at different paces in all the different lanes. I'm amazed we haven't seen more severe accidents than what we did, but this just sort of shows you there's almost no point battling in the first sort of 10 minutes of the race because traffic is going to just shake it up. I mean, look, Spets was at the start of the race. After 5 minutes, he was about 5 seconds clear. That's for nothing now. Cowlarts is right in there. He's in second. You can see him here now. It's all about really, and also undamaged, it really is just about how you manage the traffic. It almost doesn't matter how quick you are, and this track is going to exacerbate that because of just how small it is.
So we're currently 12 laps in with 15 minutes. We work out. Oh, Callas has gone round. It's Slush Gold. No, he's gone out. He's literally that off-camber turn. We've seen this. He's flashing Spets, and he's just not concentrated himself, has he? And unfortunately, that's absolutely cost him, Chris, as well, because he's now gone down, hasn't he? I believe, Carlos is down into 6th place at this moment in time. And that's, that's just absolutely incredible. He's now got to recover, hasn't he, Chris? That's his recovery drive well and truly in this race.
Yep, although again, we've got to remember there's only 15 minutes gone. We've still got 3/4 of this race left to go. No one's really miles behind in any of the classes. So, I mean, really, even someone like Ballesteros, we've seen decent pace from him. He's at the back of the LMP2 field. He's only 20 seconds behind Studensky. We've already seen silly things been going on. This is anyone's game, as we've seen Priam go into the pits. I wonder if this is a tactical decision to get a bit of clean air, although how long are you really going to be in clean air for? So I don't think pit strategy is going to come into it too much tonight because of just how hectic the racing is. And I mean, I think as I said in the YouTube comments, this is about as much traffic as you've ever seen on the track at the same time, and it's happening again.
Yeah, as we see Baumeister go off the track there, as you see that LMP1 car come back through the field, we got Bickley and Baumeister really close together. We got Spets and Depakeo as well. They are literally tucked up behind to each other as they're heading down into Rindt, down into Red Bull Mobile. They're going to be on the start-finish straight. There is no traffic at the moment. Priam's still in the pit, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to him. Maybe he's taken a little bit of damage. This can't be tactical, Chris, because he's not going to bring him out in clean air. Look at the traffic. If he starts heading out now, he's going to be smack bang in the middle of this battle again. And I don't think, from a Priam point of view, that was really tactical there as well. But we have got Gosling, and I believe that's Charvet in front with Noel and Verdalivo. Verdalivo must have got off. He's pretty much clear and 2 seconds down the road. He's got 5 seconds from Charvet. As we see the car number 8 coming through, that's Studensky, and we've got an LMP1 as well. On the far right of our side, I believe, is that Cowlot's coming back through the field, Chris. This is just going to be, that was car number 3. I believe that was Labate on the right-hand side there coming back through. I'm struggling, Chris, now, because I can't see how this is going to end up in a clean race. They're too close. It's 42 minutes remaining. As we see car number 19 as well, as Ricky get up the inside of Simnar, heading down into Roush at the moment. Simnar's coming back through. He's looking. Oh, that's Jeffrey Cobble as well. And these guys are tucked up in the freeway. And this is the thing with GTE, Chris. They're not going to want to give this space away, are they? They're not going to want to relinquish their space on track, which makes it even harder for the LMP1s, as we see car number 30. That's Bickley cutting through the middle of the three of us. How are the GTEs feeling? They've got to manage traffic, but keep the positions that they've kind of got this early on, Chris.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, the GTEs are perfectly entitled to fight their own battles. All they have to do under the iRacing Sporting Code is facilitate the pass. They don't have to get out of the way. It would hugely compromise their race at any track, let alone the Red Bull Ring, if they did start getting out of the way. It's unpredictable if they get out of the way. It's better if they stay on the racing line. It does mean, and this is going to be true for all three classes, they have to cooperate. Like you're going to see it here. There's 2 lanes into the second turn. Use the 2 lanes. Don't cut into the apex if you know there's a faster class car just behind you, which we sort of saw there a bit. That Stuart Bickley, a little bit a victim of that. I don't know if he had to slightly pull out of the pace he was trying to do. Might have done him a favour though, because if you go too quickly on the apex of turn 2 in an LMP2, as I found out, it hurts you as we go to Jan Curbs. Yeah,
Curbs is on. Chasing down Spets in second. I believe that's a 4-second gap at the moment. He's got Navarro tucked up 0.5 right behind him, and now Navarro is going to be boosting and getting the toe, heading down up into Remus, I should say. Is he going to be closing? He's not closing at the moment. If anything, the gap has opened up a little bit. It starts closing now into the zone, and then they're going to be off their way down into the Schlossgold section of this track. Now Navarro is currently 0.63. There's about a 4.5 to 5 second gap back forward, I should say, into second place of Spets. Depakeo seems to have opened up a gap. Has opened up a gap at the moment, as we see back on board with Tabana, who's got Behrens and Bickley and Baumeister all really close together. We've got Studensky's off down the road a little bit. He's cleared out now. I've got him about 6 seconds. So we're Tabana down into Behrens, is down into Remus, heading down into Schlossgold. These guys are currently second and third in your series. Heading down now, he's closing 0.08. He's gone up beside him. You're not going to want to take Schlossgold too wide if you can help it. Oh, this is going to be close. You're making it. Oh, well done. Excellent driving. Beckley's closed right up the back as well. We've seen these before with the 3 of them together. Tabata's going to be looking at taking the inside line. We've got that Courgette in the way as well. He goes jigs right. He could go left. They're heading down into the S's section, out of Worth, heading down into Rindt at this moment in time. Tabata is still tucked up behind Bowens. Bickley has got he's there as well. Got Baumeister there as well, and I believe that's Korkmas as well, tucked up really close together. Guys, you are not going to want to miss this race. Strap in, get your popcorn, get a drink, and enjoy the next 40 minutes.
Yeah,
this is going to be absolutely amazing.
Good luck to your vocal cords, James, if the racing continues to be as exciting as what we've seen in this first 20 minutes. I just think, I know we were saying earlier about pit strategy maybe not playing into anyone's hands, but perhaps if you're in this little gaggle of cars from second down to sixth in the LMP2 field, it might be worth looking, if you've got the ability to check out where you're going to come out at the end of your pit lane, it might be worth seeing if you can maybe skip an entire round of lapping the GTEs. Maybe if you just come up to the back of them the next time round, you can save yourself a lot of time. It looks like Spencer's into the pits from the LMP1. James Armstrong has also already pitted. The LMP1s, of course, because they've got the boost, now that the field has spread out again a little bit, they are going to have a little bit less of a stressful time lapping, but that's not to say, as we've already shown, that it's going to be smooth sailing for everyone. It's been absolute chaos, and this is only the first occasion they've gone around. They've got to do this probably another 3 or 4 times when all the field bunches up again. So it's going to be an interesting next 40 minutes or so, James, I think.
Yes, I believe this is the way. I believe this is the way. As you can see, Korkmas, he's at the back of this battle now. We've got Baumeister, Bickley, Tabata, Behrens. Studensky is off about 7 seconds, I believe, off down the road at the moment. As we see this famous questionable weaving heading on down into the Red Bull ring. We're going to be hard on the brakes. Cotman's down into second, pushing third on the exit, heading up into Remus at the moment. They're all very close. Baumeister has pulled out. Is making a move on Bickley. Is he going to be looking at taking that outside line? Bickley's going to be hugging that inside as much as he possibly can. He leaves him a little bit of room at the moment, but Baumeister's going to be looking at coming back, taking the inside line. Bickley's going to want to have that inside line coming down into Swashbuckle, but then that leaves him open to the cutback into Roush and Worth. As you see, he takes the inside line. Baumeister's on the outside. Oh, Bickley, I think he let him go a little bit there, but that's opened him up to Korkmas. Bass behind. He goes down Roush, down. Oh, he's blinking as well. That's making it even more difficult. Heading down into Worth, coming out of the Worth through the S's section of the end of Worth and down into Rint. As you can see, they are currently, as they were, Tabata, Behrens, Bickley, Baumeister, Korkmas. Chris, I think Korkmas is looking racy at the back of the field. Now, I think from a personal point of view, where I've sat in this position many times and just thought, do you know what? You lot race it out. I'm not going to be pushing. Would that be Korkmas's sort of mental attitude, Chris, or is he going to be looking now, 36 minutes remaining, got to be looking at making his moves? I don't think I would be.
I think, so the way I look at it, and I think this is quite a handy way for a lot of amateur racers to look at it, is like think of your mental energy as like another resource that you've only got a finite amount of. As we see him go for the move here.
Yeah, Korkmas has made the move, and Baumeister into Remus. Baumeister's got looks like he's got a better run. He's going to tuck up right behind Korkmas at the moment, going down into Swashbuckle. If you're going to be looking, you kind of want to park your car. It's really weird with this corner because you can take the inside, but then you leave the inside open in Roush for the car to come back through. And then that leaves in the inside, but on the upside to that, you get the outside on the S's through on the run up down to Rint. So it's kind of a really tricky corner if you're defending that hard, where to put your car, which is going to give you the best run down into Rint. Now, at the moment, technically, I suppose in a way, you want to put your car in the middle of the track, but you obviously can't because I suppose in a way you could, but you kind of want to pick a line. As we see these guys coming round at a Red Bull Mobile, heading an up, start, finish straight. It looks like almost on the screen there, Chris, that Taberner's cleared a little bit of a gap. Yes, it's only 0.7, but is further in front than he actually has been within the last 25 minutes.
Yep, he's clearly pushing hard. The lap before this, he was actually 0.3 quicker than Studensky, so there's clearly pace in that Taberner vehicle there. And I think going back to the Korkmas one, I was surprised to see him go for the move, but he obviously thinks he's got that slight pace advantage there over Baumeister, I think. And I think sometimes you've got to weigh up. You know, if you're in this long train, you get past one car, you're suddenly attacking and defending. Whereas if you're at the back of the train and you don't feel like you're losing pace, sometimes you're right, it's better to just sort of stick there. But It's different here, like with Charvet and Gosling, they're on their own, they've got to work together, there's just two of them. If they fight too hard, it's going to allow Richie and Simner back into their fight. They don't want that, because they could, if they work together, they could probably catch back up to Noel and Verdelivo. They're still within a fighting chance of the win here. 2
seconds, we've got Ballesteros. He is currently on the inside of car number 41, I believe, the Stanke. Coming down, they're coming side by side into Worth, and this is exactly what I mean. Stanke is taking the inside, which is going to give him the run. You don't want to give it back up again. He takes the inside line coming out of Worth, through the Worth exit S's, and on that run down into Rint, he's going to be wanting to hug. From my own personal point of view, you want to be looking at keeping that inside line as clear as possible, so you can actually take it, make your move down through Rint. Red Bull Mobile, get on the gas really early. Don't jeopardize your line through Red Bull Mobile. And as we've seen before, it can lead to the one-way ticket off the side of the track. If you try and jeopardize that line, you've got to try and keep it and hold it with a firm fist as they're heading out into Niki Lauda. And I believe, is that car, that's Labate, I believe, car number 3, Chris, I think it was.
Yep, that is Labate.
As well, so there we go. These guys are Ballesteros again. Is making. Oh, no. Oh, so run up into Remus. Stanke on the outside, Ballesteros. That was a massive netcode. An absolutely massive netcode there. There was still 2.5 feet of gap, roughly, between the two cars. Ballesteros must be in team chat going, look, dude, I didn't touch you. I am so sorry. I know that's what I would be doing as well in that situation, because that was very, very unfortunate.
It was very, very unfortunate. I think Standker can feel very upset with that, because there was that slight move from Ballesteros, but obviously from his perspective, he's going to think he's got the room to make that slight move, and he wants to prioritise his own entry into the corner. And unfortunately, it's just the laws of physics. The speed of light can only really be the speed of light, so we're not going to be able to improve on that so much, sadly.
Yeah, as we see Portelli there, he is currently trying to go past Martinez, I believe, in the Corvette, heading down into Schlossgold at the moment. These guys are really close together, 0.32 on track at the moment, as we see another LMP1 go roaring past us with 32 minutes remaining of this race. Carey's in there as well. I believe it's Carlots is in there as well. It's going to be tight again. As you see, 3 classes all on the same part of the track, and it's never going to be, well, I was going to say it's never going to work, but lucky enough, earlier on, chaotic scene on track come out with everybody making it through cleanly. Bickley's now pushing past the GTE, still closing down Tabana. Now, Studensky's kind of got a bit of a run. He's about 6.5 seconds up the road, Chris, but Barron, sorry, behind Tabana.
We've lost Korkmaz, and Baumeister's in the pits as well.
Korkmaz and Baumeister. Is there anything through? Was it Baumeister that caused... No, it wasn't. No, that was Korkmaz cut in front of that GTE. It'd be interesting to see who the GTE was. If we can get a quick on board from back going from the GTE, that would be an absolute amazing, so we can see who that was. But we've still got Behrens, Tabana really close together. Carlots and Carey are really close together as well. We're going to have a look at the pass from Carlots on Carey heading up into Remus. I think he's going to be taking the inside line into Remus, uses the LMP1. Oh, he doesn't, it goes wide. Carey gets unfortunately hit. Studensky nearly got taken out as well. This is absolutely crazy. Carlos cuts in front of the oh god, it is too tight at the moment, Chris. We've hit that stage where chaos could commence, but we see James Armstrong going off track at the moment, Chris.
Yep, and James Armstrong's already pitted once, so that's him well out of the running there with the number 37 of Birkbichler as well. That was the nastiest hit we've seen so far, but I was just thinking the 10th of a second Jan Studensky would have lost from weaving is probably what got him involved in that incident, so it just goes to show you no good can come from weaving.
Yeah, it's a Yeah, Bert Bickler and Armstrong hitting each other, going round into Schlossgold there as well. Yeah, we say that with the weaving, and yeah, I don't know if it put him in that battle. But we got the LMP2s entering into the pits. Taberner, Langang, and Bert Bickler obviously with his contact with Armstrong. Armstrong's in the pits at the moment as well, as we still got Coleman and Simner really close together. These guys have not really separated, have they, at all, heading down Rint and onto the round Red Bull Mobile and onto the straight. The number 17 car of Simnar, Kim Colmel, at the moment tucked up behind him. Simnar's going to be looking at push, squeezing and squeezing. There's a gap there, Simnar, there's a gap. Colmel's got the right to go for it if he wants to. Heading down Nicky Lauda up into Remus. He's got another fast exit coming out of Nicky Lauda. Heading down into Remus as we jump on board from Jeffrey Colmer's car. Obviously, Simnar right in front of us at the moment. The gap is currently 0.26 and we are closing. Not enough to make the move this time around. Colmel's looking racy, Chris. Simnar's got to defend for his life. It's going to be hard for Simnar in that car, isn't it?
Yep, and of course they've got Flamand to worry about as well in 8th position behind them. But again, they're not actually... Verdolivo is only 16 seconds up the road. The Charvet in 3rd for the last podium position is less than 6 seconds up the road. It's almost not worth them fighting that hard because they're only halfway through the race. They can make that 6 seconds up. We've seen pace from Simner before. We know he's quick. Colemel's obviously quick if he's keeping up with him. Same for Flamand. If they can, get the rubber to green in the second half of the race and not fight too aggressively with each other, then they need to be looking forward rather than necessarily about just this battle they're having right now. But again, this is the perennial difficulty of multi-class racing is weighing up the risk and reward of what you do within that hour, because all it takes is one bad entry from another class and your race is ruined.
Yeah, and we've seen that so many times, Chris, but we sit here, Chris, as great philosophers of our sport, but yet we're not in the car to really call what's actually happening. It's a wonderful thing, isn't it, where we can sit here and we can justifiably say, guys, you should be racing. You've got 27 minutes to go, but we're not in the car behind the wheel of Jeffrey Colmel's Porsche with Simnar right in front of us thinking, oh my God, I can see him. We're going to close. He's looking now, going down into Remus. Nothing there at the moment. We've got the LMP2. I believe that's probably, I think that's Stadinsky. It is. He's coming back through the GTEs again. He has opened up. He's currently got, I believe, about an 8-second gap at the moment in time as he's taking the inside line into Schlossgold. That's kind of I feel, Chris, that line there that Stadinsky takes almost is the line that Simnar wanted to take. And it kind of takes it away, doesn't it? It kind of leaves Simnar in that, oh no, I can't turn in yet kind of land. And that's the thing when you're in multi-class and the cars are lapping you.
Well, we saw in the FTR race on Saturday some very intelligent use of the other classes to either facilitate overtakes or to just defend from them, especially on the main straight. If you can box the car in, it's a really good way of making sure you can get that move over. Of course, there's a bit more jeopardy here because the prototype cars are a fair sight quicker than the GT4s and the Porsche Cups. That's number 19. That's Ricky.
Oh, that was a near miss behind. That was Ricky having a slide in Red Bull Mobile. As well as he's coming around, we're going to have a look at that shortly, as well as we're heading off Nicky Lauda up into the Remus straight. As we see Ricky coming round, I can guarantee, is this going to be on his own? No, Stadinsky. I don't know, Chris, what to say. That's just... We're going to have a look. I'm going to say he was going to be involved, right? But we're going to need to look from the front end of Stadinsky's car, if we can, to see if there was contact or whether or not Ricky was on his way round without Stadinsky facilitating it. As we see it here, he goes round. He dives at this impossible... No. I believe he went round on his own that time, but that's not a place, is it? Really going into the Red Bull Mobile when you got a straight to wait. You know, Chris, I can't see it.
It's easy for us to say that, but we're not the ones with an 8-second lead they're trying to preserve to win their race that's being broadcast. So it's not something I would do, but I don't have that winner's mentality that some drivers do seem to have. And he did leave enough room. the margins were extremely fine, so you've got to wonder, is that necessarily worth the risk? But equally, he's thinking about his own race. So if he leaves the room, it's kind of not his business if Ricky then makes a very understandable fine margin mistake. But for me personally, multi-class racing is a bit more cooperative than that. But then I don't have any wins in multi-class racing, so there's probably a reason why I'm saying that.
Yeah, but the question would be that little brief wait would have taken him onto that start-finish straight, right? That could have jeopardised if he hasn't gone round, if Ricky hadn't gone round on his own, would that have been then him looking to close the door and Studensky taking him round? And that's the problem you've got when you're trying to jeopardise. It's almost not just your race that you could instantly ruin by making them moves into that corner when you've got a long start-finish straight, Chris. And this is what I don't get. I think backing off waiting is more beneficial for everybody than it is looking at possibly jeopardising both people's races.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a different part of the track, but what we've just seen from Freckleton is a good example of how classes can cooperate and do it nice and safely, because everything, the car's body language there, everything was communicated nice and early. I can appreciate as you're coming into the last turn, there's not actually that much space to quickly pull out, and he did pull out early enough that it wasn't like it was a completely late lunge, although it was elements of lunges to it. But, I think we all expected to see some incidents like that here, and the fine margins mean it's inevitable. It's a shame when it happens. We'd prefer it didn't happen, but I mean, to be honest, 40 minutes into the race, I'm surprised we've only seen one or two silly incidents like that.
Yeah, I can't. I think, to be honest, I think we're going to see Mill within the next 23 minutes as we're still following Jeffrey Colmel and Simna now. This is a battle for 5th and 6th in class. 22 minutes, we're coming down into Remus. Colmel doesn't really look like he's not making what I perceive as aggressive body language in that car, Chris. He's not really sticking it out. He's not really looking to push it and really give Richard trouble with his car. He's just looking content. I might go out every now and then, but I'm going to tuck back in behind you again.
Oh, yes. So we're going 3 wide. Didn't quite work. I think it's worked. Yeah, he's got through.
Yeah, he's got worked. I wonder if I believe that was an LMP1 may have facilitated that move. Was that one of those situations where we were talking about the boxing in that you left Simnar nowhere to go? Because you can't really go a lot if you're trying to take 3 wide into a downhill off camber curve, which even when you say it sounds crazy that you're even attempted to do that, to be honest. But take us through it, Chris.
Well, it's not helped by the sudden disconnection in front. I think we're going to see a car possibly appear again here in a second. There we go. Richard didn't really have anywhere else to go there or anything else he could have done differently, because I'm sure he would have been aware that the LMP2 was approaching. The LMP2 going around the outside, actually looks like possibly was there an incident there in the pits. He certainly seemed to be near a wall. I guess we'll find out from how long his pit stop is, how much damage he may have had. Martinez is the only GTE pitter that has had a conventional pit stop. He was stopped for 11.5 seconds. Richard Simner stopped at 12.5. So I don't think there was any real damage to that car. We'll see. It'll be interesting. I don't believe he was fighting with Martinez earlier. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to him. Martinez currently 17th in class, 37th overall. Richard Simner just coming out the pits now. And it's a replay of what happened with Spets.
Let's go for it, Chris.
So this is oh, is he in it? Oh, another one who's just lost it. Like you're saying, it's a very difficult corner, and has he beached it? He is in the pit lane, so I do wonder if that. Yeah, he's had to tow. He's not been able to get that going again. He may well be calling that a day. He is the number 1 car in the field, so that's obviously done by iRacing. So he's got the highest iRating in the field. He may well have felt, having been fighting for the lead earlier, that it's not worth his time just fighting what would have been 7th place with no real recourse to come back at it. So we'll be interesting to see if he comes back out. But I can completely understand the lack of desire to race after that's happened.
Yeah. So see Labate is on the exit of Worth at the moment. He's going to be heading down. Oh, he's had to take a very line. Well, there was a car avoidance in there, Chris, as well, as we saw it shoot past us at a rapid rate. Be interested to see if we can, on board with Labate, we go through the S's of the Worth, and there we are.
Oh, That's a prototype not holding their brakes. That's not ideal.
No, that was Priam there as well. Nearly that could have ended up, well, very badly for Labate there as well. There you go. He just loses it completely on his own. He's on the brakes, Chris. Oh, no, then he wasn't.
So he needs to stay on the brakes. I know he's on the racing line, but there's going to be drivers that can see that from further away than he's thinking on his relative, and they'll already be adjusting for him being on the racing line by reversing off of it if they've committed to going left. As we just saw, that's what happens. But again, you make these decisions in split seconds. Sometimes they're wrong. What we're forgetting is that over the course of this hour...
2 seconds, Chris, 2 seconds. We've got Langan and Bert Bigler going side by side. They touched each other, heading down into Worth at this moment in time. Coming through out of the Worth S is going to be heading down into Rint. They got very, very close together. They were closer as well as they were heading down into Schlossgold, going round the Rouse section of the track. Now, there are quite a few people in front, and Bickley's in the pits, Barron's in pits as well. They're on their way out as these guys are going to be heading down onto the start-finish straight. Yeah, that was close, Chris, as we jump back on board with Simnar being swamped. Oh, this is LMP1, LMP2 and GTEs. Oh my, this is absolutely, there we go. We're back in the chaos section as we see Jordan in front of us in the Porsche as well. We've got LMP1 coming through. I believe that's Corbs was coming past us as well. Simnar is currently down in 13th position. Wow. That's, yeah, Studensky as well. I've just seen that pop up in chat. Jonathan McLaughlin, it looks like Studensky's got it into the pits, but we've still got him out in first. He has got Bickley, mind you, tucked 0.99, well, roughly about a second behind him. There is Studensky, there is Bickley. And there is the car number 37. That's Berg Bickler in front of them as well. So they're going to be coming around to lap him. As you see Simnar and Jordan. Simnar on your right-hand side is what you're looking at. Coming down into Schlossgold. Oh, he closed. No, that's Jordan's. That was not good there from Jordan. He went to close the door as Simnar was making the move, and that wasn't an ideal way of defending that position, Chris, was it?
I think there was a tiny hint of netcode as well, but yeah, as you say, they were coming together just a little bit too close there, and this is just what happened. So we'll see if Paul Jordan moved at all from his on board, and
yes, he got.
So
I don't know if because his steering wheel went a little bit, didn't it? It kind of flicked to the left. He's corrected it, and that may have spun him there.
He ever so slightly drifted inwards on under braking, and I think that Simnar was doing the same thing the other way. So it's a little bit unfortunate. I think most of the incidents we've seen today do seem to have had a hint of netcode in them, but you just think if the drivers take it that little bit more cautiously, then they wouldn't have had anything to worry about. As we go to Stuart Bickley, he was the big winner of the pit window in LMP2s, because not only has he cleared everyone else that was in that battle for P2, he is, as you say, within a second and a half of Studensky, who I'd say that Studensky does have that ever so slight pace advantage on him, despite Bickley qualifying on pole. But it does, as we've seen already, Studensky is the one that's got more tangled up in traffic issues. Whether or not that's his fault, some of them it looks like it have been, some of them it hasn't been. Added bonus to the LMP2s here. It looks like they're not going to have to do much more lapping of GTEs as Bickley goes wide, because the lead GTEs have all just pitted, except for Colmel, who I believe is the last one of the lead pack that still needs to pit.
Yeah, there's quite a few GTEs in the pits at the moment as well as we head down into the last 15 minutes. Bickley is going to get the bit between his teeth with 15 minutes remaining. He's got a 1.8 second gap with Studensky. Studensky masters traffic in a way that some love, some hate. But he just managed to come out clean just at certain times of the evening as well. So well done, I suppose, for managing that part of his evening, as we see Bickley hard on the lights there, going past the GTE of Colmel. As well as round into the Rouse section, down into Worth. He's got 1.39. There's a lot of GTEs currently in the pits. Caguano, Carmo, Noel, Carmel, Patel, Chave, Jordan is obviously in the pits And Bossier is on the pit exit, I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see. We're going to have them coming round. Do you think Stuart Bickley's got to do his pole lap every single lap to close down Studinsky? Or is he looking at maybe, Studinsky can and will probably be involved in some close racing from the other classes and maybe hoping that there might be more of an incident there for him to make the move, Chris?
Well, with 15 minutes left to go, we know Bickley's quick, but we know Studinsky is very quick. But, as you're saying, 15 minutes of clean racing in ESS isn't always possible, and where those GTEs have all just pitted, it's meant that basically from now until the end of the race, those LMP2s are going to have traffic basically the whole time. So that means that no one, unless he's very lucky, Jan Studinsky is probably not going to be able to get out of Bickley's draft at any point, as that gap is actually closing up more and more. It's really heating up now. It's nearly within a second. Jan Studinsky is going to have to take the lead on the traffic. If Bickley can get close enough, what he'll start being able to do is just follow him through with the traffic. If you get to turns 1 or 2 or 3, he can, just follow Studinsky's line and probably take each GTE as they come, because if you look on that track map, those GTEs are getting a little bit spread out now, so it's not going to be a case of interfering with their battles. It's going to be a case of getting them out of the way, because you are in a battle yourself. So this has been a bit of a slow burner, the LMP2 lead battle, but it does look like it's beginning to heat up.
Mm. It's under a second as we go on to the start-finish straight, and then we're going to see the weaving that we so love there from Studinsky as he closes up into Niki Lauda. We got Bickley 0.69 seconds, and here we go. We've got GTE as well, and this is where I don't like this, Chris. We've got GTE's fight as well in the race. You got LMP2s, and then you got Studinsky making his move, which is not going to end up well. Oh, it's very, very close. And the weaving as well makes it impossible for anybody to actually stay online, because you never know where he's going to come through. It's the unpredictability of that driving for me is a somewhat questionable act throughout the race, Chris. I don't know what chat feels about it, so please put it in chat. Maybe I'm just not, experienced enough with the weaving, but tell me what you think about it in current multi-class situations, because we're telling everybody to stay online and we're telling everybody not to make sudden moves. And even when you're coming close to traffic, you got Studinsky weaving all over the track. I just see that as somewhat of a double standard of the iRacing code, Chris.
Again, I'm having a little bit of a nose into voice chat, and I can obviously I'm concentrating on the race and listening to your beautiful voice, James, so I'm not making out exactly what they're saying, but it does sound like there's a slightly peeved Jan Studinsky and some very baffled LMP2s behind him and some very baffled GTEs that he's gone past. They're a little, it's like we said before, the car's body language is so important for knowing when you're going to try and go for the overtake. And as you see, Stuart Bickley 2/10 quicker on the last lap. So if you're weaving around like a madman, it's just going to be putting that little bit of uncertainty in the cars in front of you that you're going to be lapping. They don't know. Are you weaving or are you getting ready to go past here? He's got no room to weave here, so that's kind of solved the issue for him. I guess that's a good thing.
See, now, if I was Bickley, I would have touched right up behind Studinsky and followed him through the traffic coming down into Swashbuckle, making that move. Make sure I don't lose any time. So I'm going to follow you through, Jan. You want to clear him out the way for me. I'm going to tuck right up behind you and just follow you through as you see Jonathan McLaughlin weaving as cheating. I don't see it as cheating. I just see it as it seems to be against what I keep continually getting told, that you have to stay on the racing line. As we see Jan Curbs at 0.5 seconds tucked up the back of Depaqueo, coming out of Worth down into Rin, heading on to the start finish straight very shortly. Three classes. We've seen that quite a few times today. Jan Curbs has been a bit of a slow burner during this race, Chris, because he was probably he wasn't quite in that pack when they started, and he's kind of just chipped away, hasn't he? And a few have made their own silly mistakes, as we see Depaqueo making a bit of a lunge to try and clear out the way, but all it takes is one of these GTEs to pull out, and that's going to be race over for these LMP1s. He's kind of just plodded away, but this isn't the first time we've seen this from Curbs. This is customary, isn't it? This is him almost as a driver that we've seen kind of catch him up later on in the race.
Yeah, not to downplay De Backer's pace, but it does feel a little bit like Jan Curbs is just biding his time now. He's nearly completed the last of first class challenges. We go to Jerome Charvet in the GTE. See, looks like there's been incident here.
I see again. We're calling that netcode, but that's Richard Sibner.
Oh dear.
Okay. That's not netcode. That's Charvet having a spin. There was slight contact as well in the backside.
I reckon that's mirror driving. I think he's seen that incident behind him and he's focusing on that rather than the exit curb. And that's not a criticism of him. We've all done it. It's so easily done. But that tiny loss of concentration 50 minutes into a race, it really, really causes trouble. And it looks like the LMP2 battle for the lead is now a 3-car battle, James.
Yeah, we're just going to follow this down the start-finish straight. Curbs pulls out. You can't go there. There's too many cars on that outside line, Jan. You've got to be looking. No. Oh, okay, Jan. I'm glad you took the inside there. I thought you were going to go for pass. They're passing Studenski now. So there you go. That's Studenski on the outside. That's Jan Curbs on the inside. We can't be looking at the weaving, but this is where Bickley didn't stay. This is the struggle for Bickley now, isn't it? Because he didn't quite manage that traffic as probably maybe as aggressive or as cleanly, we don't know, from Jan Studenski. That's kind of opened that gap back up to 1.5 seconds, Chris.
Yep, that's why we were saying earlier about Bickley needing to follow through Studenski at every possible opportunity, just so he can keep on the draft. That 7/10 of a second, it's not just that it's cost him 7/10 of a second, it's also cost him being within the draft with Stanchu just behind him as well. The amount of pressure you're going to be under if you're in Stuart Bickley's cockpit right now, it's intense, because you're thinking, I can get the race win here, but you know it could so easily end in tears. And Baumeister is only 2 seconds behind Stanchu as well. You could cost yourself a lot with just even a small error at this point.
Yeah, but if you are Bickley, you can see Studenski down the road. You know, if you're going to push to try and close the gap. If you're pushing and pushing, you'll catch a toe, which will then eventually, maybe if you can drop Stanchu a little bit back into Baumeister, that would allow them guys to battle as well. You know, so it's a kind of a plus and a gain for Bickley there. If he can close that gap back up, get pulled along by Studenski, hopefully dropping Stanchu back into the back of Baumeister, then them two can battle and slow each other down, and Bickley can get on his way and catch up with, try and get past Studenski.
Yeah, it's too much going on now, James.
Don't get me wrong, in the ideal scenario, that's me playing it out, but we've had a few comments in chat as well. Single move to defend, not 12. That's where I'm up to as well. It should be classed as dangerous driving on a live track. I don't know, maybe. Jonathan McCall, I think I'd protest in this case. Well, it's technically, yes, I can see what you mean, but this is where the code of iRacing needs to really clarify on what we're going to be, what is and what not regarded as dangerous driving with weaving across track. Yes, one move to defend, I believe, has been through all the motorsport that I've watched in my entire life, but you know, as I say, there are rules and regulations within iRacing that I still protest now, and I still argue my case. But there you go.
The thing is, you protest it and you leave it up to the gods of iRacing, which is the system. But you can see this battle. They're back within a second and a half to 3 of them now. As Stanchu has come up, as pointed out in chat, he's made 8 places up today. This has been a very solid drive from him, and he's still within a good shout of winning the race. All it's going to take is one small incident up ahead. And there's a bit of traffic further up ahead, so still plenty of time for something to go wrong here.
Well, we got Studenski on a 1:20.08, but we got Bickley on a 1:19.91. The last lap out. Stanchu's done a 1:19.5. Corpse is going, Labate at the moment, he is going past O'Kerry, going down into Remus. Now that clears him, that puts him in 4th place, -1 on his grid position. Heading down into Swashbuckle. Now Labate is quick anyway, but aren't we used to seeing Labate in a Porsche? Chris, didn't he have a Porsche in Daytona?
He did, but maybe some of these drivers are comfortable in both the cars and will just pick what they feel they're stronger at for each race. I mean, that's why we're seeing so many Courgettes in this race, and even 2 Fords. That's at least double the number of Fords we normally see.
It's coming! Oh, I thought that was going to be a major spinner in front of Dapaqueo and Corbs there. That's going to allow Corbs to close back up on him as well. Oh, I thought that was going to be half a second. we're looking at the timing table. We've got half a second between Bickley and Studensky. There you have it live on screen as they come around at Remus down into Schlossgold. Bickley's got to close up. Stanchew's closed up again. He's within a second now. And there you go, again. You've got to make that move, Chris. And if I was Bickley, I would stay on the line because clearly, Studensky isn't making... He's surely got to just be adding miles to the tracking, isn't he? You know, we're at 2.61 miles. Is Studensky making it 2.7 because he's adding 0.4 of a mile onto his race? As we can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars headed down into Niki Lauda. 2 LMP1 leaders. I believe there was an LMP2 of car number 10. That's Freckleton involved, and I'm going to put my money on that's going to be Sinmar and Patel behind them guys as well, with Carmo just in front of them, if I'm not mistaken. But Chris, surely he's just adding miles onto his track, isn't he? Stanchew's got right up to the back of Bickley, but I think Bickley got a little bit... Oh, Combs is on the grass, making that move for Depaqueo, but he's on the grass. They're too wide going down into... No! Combs got that done. I thought Depaqueo, he caught the grass and just pulled himself back in. But as we see, Stanchew, Bickley, and Studensky taken up into Remus, going down into Schlossgold. Bickley made his move there. He cleared that traffic. He got his move on the inside, and that didn't allow Stanchew through. But this could lead him into a too-wide situation that you don't want to be in, going down into Schlossgold. Bickley's got a lot on his plate at the moment. He's got the ever-weaving Studensky, he's got Stanchew tucked up behind him, and we've only got 3 minutes remaining, Chris.
Well, I think Studensky has finally got his tyres up to temperature because he didn't actually weave between turns 2 and 3 there. The one time it might have actually been worth him doing it, just because it could have forced... If you force Bickley to take the defensive line, because Stanchew's right there, that's going to give Studensky the tactical advantage. Although right now, to me, if anyone's making the move, it looks like it's going to be Stanchew and Bickley, which of course is going to play right into Studensky's hand. They've probably got, I reckon, 3 laps left, including the one they're just starting now, perhaps 2. It depends exactly when the LMP1s get through. Corbs being about halfway through the lap with 2 minutes 20 left, and the LMP1s are lapping around 1 minute 10. So there are probably 2 laps left after they next cross the line. So 3 laps, including this one, for this battle we've got here. 3 more chances for some madness to occur, I think, is the order of the day.
Yeah, I'm worried a little bit at the moment, and I'm worried with 2 minutes remaining, because there we go off again. He's made his one move, so technically to stay there, but Bickley's not really following him on that line. He's just driving that looks like the normal racing line that we would all take. Now we're coming down through Roush at the moment. Stanchew, Bickley, Studensky all really close together. Depaqueo and Corbs are having another battle down into Remus. Depaqueo's on the inside, Corbs on the out. Oh, Corbs he hit the curb, had to slow him down. He slowed him down, and then he hit the brakes. Depaqueo coming back through. Now, this is a situation that Jan Corbs probably doesn't find himself in very often, Chris, through the races we watch. You know, he normally gets out in front and away he goes, isn't he? So to have him see him battling like this is kind of very rare for the viewers at home watching the ESS split that we put on every Thursday.
Yeah, I think sometimes we might focus a bit too much on Curbs' raw pace because his racecraft is still excellent. I mean, the overtake earlier was slightly untidy, but it looks like we're going for a move Stanchew on Bickley here. Yeah,
Bickley and Stanchew coming down into Remus. But it's just, they've come close together. If Bickley uses the Ford, I believe, out on the outside, that will give him a lot more of a comfortable gap that can leave Stanchew nowhere to go with that Ford tucked up on the outside. Bickley's got past the Ford, and Stanchew unfortunately has not as well. So that's less than a lap remaining. We got Corbs currently in the pits and probably guessing it could be due to refueling. So that's going to be an odd situation, Chris. Take us through.
He was stopped for 8 seconds, so I think, he's probably just miscalculated his fuel. So unless something drastic happens, that's handed the win to Neil de Backer. So after that excellent battle we saw, and now Curbs has got Cowlarts the company, so no rest for the wicked.
Yeah, no rest for Jan Korbs with just a lap. Oh, that's Carlos out. That's car number 5. Jimmy Noel is, he's taken out third place in the LMP1s. I can imagine voice chat's probably going off now as we see that the Bacrea coming round. He's coming round Red Bull Mobile. If we could pick him up, I believe this is going to be the victory for Neil De Bacrea coming down the start-finish straight. There you go, guys. LMP1 victor for this evening. The Bickley-Studensky battle is hotting up as they're coming down into Swashbuckle. Bickley is tucked right up behind the back of Studensky. 0.2 second. Is this going to be a last lap? Lunge, dive, pass, whatever you're going to do, Bickley. You have got less than 4 corners to do it. He's taking the Roush. He's got to move. He's got to be making the move. Is he going to be doing it? He's taking the nice cleaner line through Roush, which gives him a good exit down into Worth. They're going to be tucked up right behind each other through. Oh, Bickley, get on the gas. Get on the gas. Off you go, son. He gets on the gas. He takes the curb. We're heading down into Rin. This is Bickley's opportunity. He's either going to look, lunge, or just send it through. What are you going to do? Bickley down into Red Bull Mobile. He's coming down onto the last corner. Oh, traffic's paying attention as well. Come on, Bickley. You got this. Get up there beside him, son. As it goes down. Oh, Studensky takes it on the line from Stuart Bickley. Well, that was me excited, Chris, for the end of the race. I don't know about you.
Oh, that was fantastic. That was absolutely incredible racing from everyone. I mean, it ended up being quite... The actual battle between Studensky, Bickley and Stangchu was quite clean. It was just the traffic was less so. And I believe Cowlart's got a penalty for that rejoin as well, because that would have been the 4X that tips him over to the 17. So that might well be... I think him and Stanker might have been the only 2 that got penalties, although Stanker may have been extra for damage. We only actually had 4 retirements, which in a field of 41 around a track this small, I think is absolute madness. That's incredible.
Yeah, well done to them. As we're just waiting for the last cars to cross across the line, but there are the results of your LMP1. De Bacrea is in first place. Jan Korbs in second. Carlo Labadie third. Jake Carey fourth. Simon Cowlotz in fifth. Antonio Navarro in sixth. Alexander Spetz in seventh. And James Armstrong in eighth place. Whew. Wow, there you go. In LMP2, we've got LMP2. Is that correct, sir?
Well, Stuart will be hoping it is.
Yeah, is that correct?
That will obviously be the official thing then. He was a ghost.
Yeah, obviously he wasn't there, or just unless he got disqualified. I don't know. But anyway,
he moved into the afterlife.
Yeah. So okay. So currently, iRacing is currently showing us that Bickley was out the winner. Stanchu second, Balmister third, Taberner fourth, Sainfard fifth, Ballesteros sixth, Jan Studensky in seventh. But I've just had word in my ear that it's possible if Jan Studensky got a 17X, which would have given him a 40-second penalty, that's probably about where he would have been. Bayron's in eighth, Como in ninth, Freckleton 10th, Bert Bigler in 11th, Langen in 12th, Stanker in 13th, Priem in 14th, Cockmass in 15th. So we've got Bickley, who's currently in, we got him down as the winner. So GG, Stuart Bickley. Much love from everybody at TSS. You were down. We got you down as tonight's winner if Jan Studensky got the penalty, which we are going to presume that he did do. In the GTEs, we didn't really see much of Verdolivo, but he literally pulled out the lead of 20 seconds. Danny Goslin in second, Jeffrey Como in third, Flamanta in fourth, Ricky fifth, Mafu in sixth, Carmo in seventh, Jorg V. Carmo, Spiker in eighth, Varen in ninth, the Sergio M. Carmo in 10th, Martinez in 11th, Pettinella in 12th, Patelli in 13th, Richard Simnar in a disappointing 14th. He would have been hoping for a much better race after he was up at 5th and 6th at one point. Bossier in 15th, Jordan 16th, Noel in 17th, Charvet in 18th. So we're currently under the big... It's all going off in chat, Chris. This last second there with Jan Studensky getting a 17X and a penalty has dropped him down into 7th place. And Our boy Stuart Bickley took the win, Chris.
Yeah, well, thankfully, it's not a repeat of 2003's Brazilian Grand Prix, and Stuart Bickley is our Giancarlo Fisichella. He actually gets to stand on the imaginary podium, so that will be good news for him. And Just Baumeister, he gets on the podium as well. So aren't penalties good sometimes? There's some winners out of penalties, so that's a good thing. I'll tell you what would be quite funny though is if he picked up a single extra many of that weaving. That would be incredibly funny.
Yes.
It happened.
So there you go, guys. What an absolutely amazing race. Now, Chris, last time out in Dotano, you struggled to give me a one-word answer for this race. Do you think that one-word answer is possible for tonight?
Yes. Gridlock.
Okay, there you go. So, okay, there you have it. He managed it, guys. Chris managed the one-word answer, so I'm happy. What a race. That rounds out tonight's race, guys, and I think you'll agree it was absolutely epic. And I so wish if you've missed the broadcast, please go watch it back. It's going to be absolutely amazing. What have we got live for you this week on TSS? Well, Sunday is the return of the IR UK GT3 Hams, brought to you live on the TSS YouTube and the iRacing UK Twitch channels. That'll be live. I'm on 8:45, I believe they're on. Then on Tuesday is the amazing F3s, which you'll see myself in, hopefully less dying than I did at Donington last week. That will be live from Spa, and that again can be found on the TSS YouTube and also the iRacing UK Twitch channels, and that's live at 9:05 p.m. with our very own Chris Rowlands on production. And then on Thursday is the return of the ESS, and this time it is at Watkins Glen, the Classic Boot Series. So just saying them words gets me excited. So that's definitely one you're not going to want to miss. And we will be live at 9 p.m. on the TSS YouTube. Now, guys, don't forget, every single socials that we had is down in the description. Please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. And all that's left to say for this evening is from me, Chris, producer Sean. Good night. Take care. Be safe, and we might see you on the track sometime.